Preparation of budget. Learning objectives. To understand the meaning of project. Present the classification of project. Discuss the steps in project selection. Present the meaning and contents of project report. Present guidelines by Planning Commission for project report. Discuss network analysis. Present errors of project report. Understand project appraisal. Discuss identification of opportunity and feasibility study. 8.1 Meaning of project. An entrepreneur takes numerous decisions to convert his business idea into a running concern. His/her decision-making process starts with project/product selection. The project selection is the first cornerstone to be laid down in setting up an enterprise. The success or failure of an enterprise largely depends upon the project. The popular English proverb "degrees well began is half done" ± applies to project selection, also indicates the significance of good beginning. The dictionary meaning of project is that is a scheme, design, a proposal of something intended or devised to be achieved. Newman and his associates define that a project typically has a distinct mission that it is designed to achieve and clear termination point, the achievement of the mission. Giller defines project degrees as a whole complex of activities involved in using resources to gain benefits ±. According to Encyclopedia of Management, degrees a project is an organized unit dedicated to the attainment of goal, the successful completion of a development project on time, within budget, in conformance with predetermined program specifications ±. Now, a project can be defined as a 156 Management and Entrepreneurship. Scientifically evolved work plan devised to achieve a specific objective within a specified period of time. Project can differ in their size, nature of objectives, time duration and complexity. However, projects partake of the following three basic attributes: by a course of action, II specific objectives, and III definite time perspectives. Every project has starting point, an end point with specific objectives. 8.2 Project classification. Project classification helps in expressing and highlighting the essential features of project. Different authorities have classified projects differently. The following are some of the important classification of projects. 1. Quantifiable and non-quantifiable projects. Quantifiable projects are those in which possible quantitative assessment of benefits can be made. Non-quantifiable projects are those where such assessment is not possible. Projects concerned with industrial development, power generation, mineral development fall in the first category, while projects involving health, education and defense fall in the second category. 2. Sectional projects. Here the classification is based on various sectors like then agriculture and allied sector, then irrigation and power sector, and industry and mining sector, and transport and communication sector, and information technology sector, then miscellaneous. This system of classification has been found useful in resource allocation at macro level. 3. Techno-economic projects. Classification of projects based on techno-economic characteristic fall in this category. This type of classification includes factors intensity-oriented classification, causation-oriented classification as discussed below. A factor intensity-oriented classification based on this projects may be classified as capital-intensive or labor-intensive if large investment is made in plant and preparation of project /157 machinery. The project will be termed as capital-intensive. On the other hand, project involving large number of human resources will be termed as degrees labor-intensive ±. B. Causation-oriented classification. On the basis of causation, projects can be classified as demand-based and raw material-based projects. The availability of certain raw materials, skills or other inputs makes the project raw material-based, and the very existence of demand for certain goods or services make the project demand-based. C. Magnitude-oriented classification. This is based on the size of investment involved in the projects. Accordingly, projects are classified into large-scale, medium-scale or small-scale projects. The selection of a project consists of two main steps: project identification and project selection. 8.3 Project Identification. Often indenting entrepreneurs always are in search of project having a good market. But how without knowing the product code they determine market whose market they find out without knowing the item i.e. product? Idea generation about a few projects provides a way to come out of the above tangle. Idea generation. The process of project selection starts with idea generation. In order to select most promising and profitable project, the entrepreneur has to generate a large number of ideas about the possible projects he can take. The project ideas can be discovered from various internal and external sources. These may include knowledge of potential customer needs, personal observation of emerging trends in demand for certain products, scope for producing substitute product, the trade and professional magazines which provide a very fertile source of project ideas, the departmental publications of various departments of the government, the success stories of known entrepreneurs or friends or relatives, the a new product introduced by the competitor, the ideas given by knowledgeable persons. All these sources putting together may give you ideas about the possible projects to be examined, among which the project must be selected. After going through these sources, if an entrepreneur has been able to get 6 project ideas, one project idea will be finally selected going through the following selection process. 158 / Management and Entrepreneurship. Project selection. Project selection starts once the entrepreneur has generated few ideas of project. After having some ideas, these project ideas are analyzed in the light of existing economic conditions, market conditions, and the government policy and so on. For this purpose, the tool is generated used what is called SWOT analysis. The intending entrepreneur analyzes his strengths and weaknesses as well as opportunities / competitive advantages and threats / challenges offered by each of the project ideas. In addition, the entrepreneur needs to analyze other related aspects also like raw material, potential market, labor, capital, location and forms of ownerships, etc. Each of these aspects has to be evaluated independently and in relation to each of these aspects. This forms the continuous and back and forth process as shown in Figure 8.1. On the basis of this analysis, the most suitable idea is finally selected to convert it into an enterprise. The process involved in selecting a project out of few projects is also termed as degrees zeroing in process ±. Product, ownership, location, working capital, total investment, labor, market, raw material. Figure 8.1, Interdependent aspects of projects. Readers are advised to know that there is a time interval involved in between project identification and project selection. In some cases it may be few months and in others it may be few minutes. 8.4 Meaning and significance of project report. As if discussed in the previous section, Webster New 20th Century Dictionary defines as the scheme, design, a proposal, something intended or devised. A project report or a business plan is a written statement of what an entrepreneur proposes to take up. It is a kind of guide, frost or course at action what the entrepreneur hopes to achieve in his business. Preparation of project / 159. And how is he going to achieve it? A project report serves like the kind of big road map to reach the destination determined by entrepreneur. Hence a project report can be defined as a well-evolved course of action devised to achieve the specified objectives within a specified period of time. It is like an operating document. The preparation of project report is of great significance for an entrepreneur. The project report serves two essential purposes. The first is the project report is like a road map. It describes the direction the enterprise is going in, what its goals are, where it wants to be, and how it is going to get there. In addition, it enables the entrepreneur to note that he is proceeding in the right direction. Dan Steinhoff and John F. Burgess hold the view that without well-spelled-out goals and operational methods, most businesses flounder on the rocks of hard times. The second purpose of the project report is to attract lenders and investors. The preparation of project report is beneficial for those small-scale enterprises which apply for financial assistance from the financial institutions and commercial banks. On the basis of this project report, the financial institutes make appraisal and decide whether financial assistance should be given or not. If yes, how much. Other organizations which provide various assistance like work shed/land, raw material, etc., also make decisions on the basis of this project report. 8.5 Contents of a project report. The significance of project report as discussed above makes it clear that there is no substitution for business plan or project report, and there are no shortcuts to prepare it. The more concrete and complete project report not only serves as roadmap but also earns the respect of outsiders who support in making and running an enterprise. Hence, project report should be prepared with great care and consideration. A good project report should contain the following: 1. General information, information on product profile and product details. 2. Promoter, his/her educational qualification, work experience, project-related experience. 3. Location, exact location of the project, lease or freehold, location advantages for land and building, land area, construction area, type of construction, cost of construction, detailed plan and estimate along with plant layout. 5. Plant and machinery, details of machinery required, capacity, suppliers, cost, various alternatives available, cost of miscellaneous assets. 6. Production process, description of production process, process chart, technical know-how, technology alternatives available, production program. 7. Utilities, water, power, steam, compressed air requirements, cost estimates, sources of utilities. 8. Transport and communication, mode, possibility of getting costs. 160/management and entrepreneurship. 9. Raw material, list of raw material required by quality and quantity, sources of procurement, cost of raw material, buy-up arrangements, if any, for procurement of raw material, alternative raw material, if any. 10. Manpower, manpower requirement by skilled and semi-skilled, sources of manpower supplies, cost of procurement, requirement for training and its cost. 11. Products, product mix, estimated sales distribution channels, competitions and their capacities, product standard, input-output ratio, product substitute. 12. Market, end users of product, distribution of market as local, national, international, trade practices, sales promotion devices, proposed market. Research. 13. Requirement of working capital required, sources of working capital, need for collateral security, nature and extent of credit facilities offered and available. 14. Requirement of funds, break up project cost in terms of costs of land, building, machinery, miscellaneous assets, preliminary expenses, contingencies and margin, money for working capital, arrangements for meeting the cost of setting up the project. 15. Cost of production and profitability the first 10 years. 16. Break-even analysis. 17. Schedule of implementation. 8.6 Formulation of project report. A project report is like a roadmap. It is an operating document. What information and how much information it contains depends upon the size of the enterprise, as well as nature of production. For example, small-scale enterprises do not include technology, which is used for preparing project reports of large-scale enterprises. Within small-scale enterprises too, all information may not be homogeneous for all units. Vinod Gupta has given the general set of information in his study degrees Formation of a Project Report, plus minus. According to Gupta, project formulation divides the process of project development into 8 distinct and sequential stages as below. 1. General information. 2. Project description. 3. Market potential for capital costs and sources of finance. 5. Assessment of working capital requirements. 6. Other financial aspects. 7. Economical and social variables. 8. Project implementation. Preparation of project/161. The nature of formation to be collected and furnished under each of these stages has been given below. 1. General information. The information of general nature given in a project report includes the following: biodata of promoter, name and address, qualifications, experience and other capabilities of the entrepreneur, similar information of each partner if any, industry profile, the reference analysis of industry to which the project belongs, e.g., past performance, present status, its organization, its problems, etc. Constitution and organization, the constitution and organization structure of the enterprise. In case of partnership firm, its registration with Registrar of Firms, certification from the Directorate of Industries/District Industry Center. Product details, product utility, product range, product design, advantage to be offered by the product over its substitutes if any. 2. Project description. A brief description of the project covering the following aspects should be made in the project report. Site, location of the unit, owned, rented or leasehold land, industrial area, no objection certificate from municipal authorities if the enterprise location falls in the residential area. Physical infrastructure. Availability of the following items of infrastructure should be mentioned in the project report. A. Raw material. Requirement of raw material, whether inland or imported. Sources of raw material supply. B. Skilled labor. Availability of skilled labor in the area, i.e., arrangements for training laborers in various skills. C. Utilities. These include I. Power. Requirement of power, load sanctioned. Availability of power. II. Fuel. Requirement of fuel items such as coal, coke, oil or gas, state of their availability and supply position. III. Water. The sources of water, quality and quantity available. D. Pollution control. The aspects like scope of dumps, sewage system, sewage treatment plant, infiltration facility, etc. should be mentioned. E. Communication and transportation facility. The availability of communication facilities, e.g., telephone, fax, telex, internet, etc., should be indicated. Requirements for transport, mode of transport, potential means of transport, approximate distance to be covered, bottlenecks, etc., should be stated in the business plan. 162/Management and Entrepreneurship. Staff production process. Dimensions should be made for process involved in production and period of conversion from raw material into finished goods. G. Machinery and equipment. A complete list of machines and equipments required indicating their size, type, cost and sources of their supply should be enclosed with the project report. H. Capacity of the plant. The installed licensed capacity of the plant along with the shifts should also be mentioned in the project report. I. Technology selected. The selection of technology, arrangements made for acquiring it should be mentioned in the business plan. J. Other common facilities. Availability of common facilities like machine shops, welding shops and electrical repair shops, etc. should be stated in the project report. K. Research and development. Dimensions should be made in the project report regarding proposed research and development activities to be undertaken in future. 3. Market potential. While preparing the project report, the following aspects relating to market potential of the product should be stated in the report. A. Demand and supply position. State the total expected demand for the product and present supply position. What is the gap between demand and supply and how much gap will fill up by the proposed unit? The expected price. Expected price of the product to be realized should also be mentioned. C. Marketing strategy. Arrangements made for selling the product should be clearly stated in the project report. D. After sales service. Depending upon the nature of the product, provisions made for after sales should normally be stated in the project report. For capital costs and sources of finance, an estimate of the various components of capital items like land and buildings, plant and machinery, installation costs, preliminary expenses, margin of working capital should be given in the project report. The sources should indicate the owner's funds together with funds raised from financial institutions and banks. 5. Assessment of working capital. The requirement for working capital and its sources of supply should clearly be mentioned. It is preferred to prepare working capital requirements in the prescribed formats designed by limits of requirement. It will reduce the objections from bankers' side. Preparation of project//163. 6 other financial aspects. To judge the profitability of the project to be set up, a projected profit and loss account, indicating likely sales revenue, cost of production, the allied cost and profit should be prepared. A projected balance sheet and cash flow statement should also be prepared to indicate the financial position and requirements at various stages of the project. In addition to this, the break-even analysis should also be presented. Break-even point is the level of production at which the enterprise shall earn neither profit nor incur loss. Breakdown level indicates a gestation period and the likely moratorium required for repayment of the loans. Break-even point is calculated as break-even point BEP equals F/SCB, where F equals fixed cost, S equals selling price/unit, V equals variable cost/unit. The break-even point indicates at what level of output the enterprise will break even. 7 Economical and social variables. Every enterprise has social responsibility. In view of the social responsibility of business, the abatement costs, i.e., the costs for controlling the environmental damage, should be stated in the project. Arrangements made for treating the effluents and emissions should also be mentioned in the report. In addition, the following socio-economic benefits should also be stated in the report. I. Employment generation. II. Import substitution. III. Ancillation. IV. Exports. V. Local resource utilization. VI. Development of the area. 8. Project implementation. Every entrepreneur should draw an implementation scheme or a timetable for his project, to the timely completion of all activities involved in setting up an enterprise. If there is delay in implementation, project cost overrun. Delay in project implementation jeopardizes the financial viability of the project, on one hand, and props up the entrepreneur to drop the idea to set up an enterprise, on the other. Hence there is need to draw up an implementation schedule for the project and then to adhere to it. PERT and CPM discussed later in this chapter can be used to get better insight into all activities related to implementation of the project. 164/Management and Entrepreneurship. 8.7 Planning Commission Guidelines. In order to process investment proposals and arrive at investment decisions, the Planning Commission has issued guidelines for preparing/formulating industrial projects. The guidelines have been summarized as follows. 1. General information. The feasibility report should include an analysis of the industry to which the project belongs. It should deal with the past performance of the industry. The description of the type of industry should also be given, i.e., the priority of the industry, increase in production, role of the public sector, allocation of investment of funds, choice of technique, etc. This should contain information about the enterprise submitting the feasibility report. 2. Preliminary analysis of alternatives. This should contain present data on the gap between demand and supply for the outputs which are to be produced. Data on the capacity that would be available from projects that are in production or under implementation at the time the report is prepared. A complete list of all existing plants in the industry, giving their capacity and their level of production actually obtained. A list of all projects for which letters of intent, licenses have been issued, and a list of proposed projects. All options that are technically feasible should be considered at this preliminary stage. The location of the project and its implications should also be looked into. An account of the foreign exchange requirement should be taken. The profitability of different options should also be looked into. An account of the foreign exchange requirement should be taken. The profitability of different options shall 1d also be given. The rate of return on investment should be calculated and presented in the report. Alternative cost calculations vs. VIS return should be presented. 3. Project description. The feasibility report should provide a brief description of the technology/process chosen for the project. Information relevant for determining the optimality of the location chosen should also be included. 2. Assist in the assessment of the environmental effects of a project. Every feasibility report must present the information on specific points, i.e., population, water, land, air, flora, fauna, effects arising out of the project's pollution, other environmental destruction, etc. The report should contain a list of important items of capital equipment and also the list of the operational requirements of the plant, requirements of water and power, requirements of personnel, organizational structure envisaged, transport costs, activity-wise phasing of construction and factors affecting it. For marketing plan, it should contain the following items: data on the marketing plan, demand and prospective supply in each of the areas to be served, the methods and the data used for making estimates of domestic supply, and selection of the market areas should be presented. Estimates of the degree of price sensitivity should be presented. It should contain an analysis of past trends in prices. Preparation of project/165. 5. Capital requirements and cost. The estimates should be reasonably complete and properly estimated. Information on all items of costs should be carefully collected and presented. 6. Operating requirements and costs. Operating costs are essentially those costs which are incurred after the commencement of commercial production. Information about all items of operating cost should be collected. Operating costs relate to cost of raw materials and intermediaries, fuel, utilities, labor, repair and maintenance, selling expenses and other expenses. 7. Financial analysis. The purpose of this analysis is to present some measures to assess the financial viability of the project. A pro forma balance sheet for the project data should be presented. Depreciation should be allowed for on the basis specified by the Bureau of Public Enterprises. Foreign exchange requirements should be cleared by the Department of Economic Affairs. The feasibility report should take into account income tax rebates for priority industries, incentives for backward areas, accelerated depreciation, etc. The sensitivity analysis should also be presented. The report must analyze the sensitivity of the rate of return on the level and pattern of product prices. 8. Economic analysis. Social profitability analysis needs some adjustments in the data relating to the costs and return to the enterprise. One important type of adjustment involves a correction in input and cost to reflect the true value of foreign exchange, labor and capital. The enterprise should try to assess the impact of its operations on foreign trade. Indirect costs and benefits should also be included in the report. If they cannot be quantified, they should be analyzed and their importance emphasized. 8.8 Network analysis. A project consists of a number of constituted activities. It is examined in detail and the details are utilized to compile the sequential narration of the constituent activities of a project. The compilation is known as the project logic. When it is represented in the form of a graphical portrayal, it is called as network. Network in simple words is defined as the graphical representation of interrelated activities of the project. A network generally comprises a set of symbols connected with each other in a sequential relationship, with each step making the completion of an event. The network diagram and scheduling computations enable the project formulation team to identify the longest series of activities through the project implementation phase, which determines the project duration. The number of network techniques have been developed and some of them are discussed below. Critical Path Method (CPM). The CPM is a logical mathematical model of the project based upon the optimal duration required for each activity and optimal use of available limited resources. It is a deterministic model. 166/Management and Entrepreneurship. Program Evaluation and Review Technique. PERT. The PERT is primarily a scheduling technique. It shows any job or project as a set of processes of operations called registered trademark activities which must take place in a certain sequence. All activities have to be compelled in order to accomplish the project. It is a probabilistic model and introduces uncertainties in project network. Graphical Evaluation and Review Technique. The GUR is a more recently used network. This is superior to CPM and PERT. It allows for probabilistic events. While all events in CPM and PERT are deterministic, in the networks representing research and development project, the process is repeated till the desired outcome is achieved. CPM and PERT cannot be used in such situations. In GRO network only, simulation can be used. Line of balance. Line of balance uses graphic techniques to show the progress achieved on the project with respect to key events. Workshop Analysis Scheduling Program WASP. This technique of networking system was developed by the British Atomic Energy Authority. However, the most commonly used techniques are PERT and CPM. Use of PERT. The following steps are used in PERT. 1. The activities of the project are identified along with their interrelationships and graphically represented using networks. 2. The time required for completing each activity is estimated and noted on the network. 3. The minimum time required for completing the entire project is estimated. 4. The critical activities are identified for the efficient allocation of resources in order to complete the project earlier, if necessary. 5. Closer watch on critical and other activities so as to complete the project on time. The following table gives the activities and the time required to complete each activity of the project. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 3, 2, 5, 6, 4, 5. Preparation of project //167. Activity time required 2. Complete activity. Days 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 3 to 4, 2 to 5, 4 to 5, 4 to 6, 5 to 6, 08, 03, 02, 05, 06, 04, 05. Path 1256 equals 8 plus 5 plus 5 equals 18 days. Path 1346 equals 3 plus 2 plus 4 equals 09 days. Path 13456 equals 3 plus 2 plus 6 plus 5 equals 16 days. Since the path 1256 consumes longest time, it is known as critical path, and the activities 1 to 2, 2 to 5 and 5 to 6 are known as critical activities. Hence the project completion time is 18 days. Use of CPM. The CPM is almost similar to the PERT. However, it is activity-oriented and focuses on cost and not time. The CPM is generally used to find the optimum project cost and time. The optimum project cost is the minimum cost at which the project can be completed. This can be determined by using the concept of crashing of activities. Crashing of activity is nothing but reducing the time required to complete an activity by allocations additional resources, which adds cost. CPM is also used to find minimum time at which a project can be completed, irrespective of cost, which may be necessary under crisis situations. Advantages of PERT. 1. It determines the expected duration of activities and consequently of the project duration. 2. It incorporates risk analysis in project network. 3. It determines critical activities in the project. 4. It determines the most economical schedule for fixed project duration. 5. It enables optimal allocation of limited resources. Limitations of PERT. 1. The time estimates to perform activities constitutes a major limitation of this technique. 2. The probability distribution of total time is assumed to be normal, which in real-life situations may not be true. 168/Management and Entrepreneurship. 3. The simple PERT technique does not consider the resources required at various stages. If a certain resource must be used to perform more than one activity, and at the same time if it can be used for only one activity at a time, then the network diagram will become infeasible. Advantages of CPM. 1. CPM allows for a comprehensive view of the entire project. Because of the sequential and concurrent relationships, time scheduling becomes very effective. 2. Identifying critical activities keeps the project manager alert and in the state of preparedness, with alternative plans ready in case these are needed. 3. Selective management principle may be used in project management. In the network analysis, the critical activities become item registered trademark A, the subcritical activities item registered trademark B, and all others item registered trademark C. Breaking down the project into smaller components permits better and closer control. For through the plan schedule derived from CPM, delegation can be effectively practiced. Limitations of CPM. 1. CPM is deterministic model based on certainty assumptions as regards time. But it may not be true in practice. 2. CPM does not use statistical analysis in making time estimates. 3. It cannot be used as a controlling device since any changes introduced will alter the entire structure of network. Differences between PERT and CPM. Though both PERT and CPM are used for managing projects, yet there are differences between them. These are listed in table. PERT CPM. 1. It is event-oriented approach. 2. It allows uncertainty. 3. It is probabilistic model. 4. It is time-based. 5. It averages time. 6. It has 3 estimates of time. 7. It is suitable when high precision is required. It is an activity-oriented approach. It does not allow uncertainty. It is deterministic model. It is cost-based. It does not average time. It has single estimate of time. It is suitable where reasonable precision is required. Preparation of project //169. 8.9 Common mistakes by entrepreneurs in project formulation. Entrepreneurs do make mistakes while selecting and formulating their projects and evolving business plans. Some of the common errors found in project formulation are: 1. Selection of project area. Entrepreneurs select wrong area of product or service by studying wrong or exaggerated data of particular industries. This happens particularly when entrepreneur gets data from the presentations and projections made by experts in the field or exhibitions or from trend analysis. The selection of a product without detailed study of product market, demand, patterns, competition in the industry, change of customer taste and perceptions, or mistake an overview of the demand pattern. Usually an entrepreneur selects the product which he knows best or where he has worked for long years. Example, a marketing man in textile is likely to choose textile as his product. 2. Market study and analysis. Market research, study and analysis is a critical aspect for an entrepreneur in selection of a product and market segment. Any decision based on scanty, wrong or unorganized data will give a distorted demand picture leading to wrong choices. An entrepreneur should also choose products based on the objective studies and not go by his previous experience, avoiding likes and dislikes in his personal capacity. 3. Selection of technology. An appropriate technology is necessary for any new enterprise for its survival and growth. A wrong selection of technology leads to problems of costs, profit margins and feasibility issues of the entire project. For optimistic estimates, over-optimistic estimates by the entrepreneurs in the area of productivity, capacity utilization, prevailing marketing conditions, underestimation of competitors and pricing give wrong selection of products. Any business plan made by an entrepreneur based on wrong data, financial jugglery, will give problems in selection and implementation of the project. 5. Ownership form. A suitable ownership form be evolved for the project to avoid stoppages and disputes. 6. Selection of location. An entrepreneur should not be tempted to select locations that are not viable. A location is almost permanent to any project and as such, plays an important role in cost competitiveness and viability of the organization throughout its life. An entrepreneur is tempted usually on 3 counts. First, the cheapness on and second love of the native place of the entrepreneur and third the incentives offered by the government agencies for location of industries. It could be seen that all the 3 alternatives give a broad idea of the costs whereas the selection be made only on the basis of techno-economic analysis and overall benefits to the proposed projects. In order to process investment proposals and arrive at investment decisions of the Planning 170/Management and Entrepreneurship Commission has issued guidelines for preparing formulating industrial projects. The guidelines have been summarized as follows. 8.10 Project Appraisal, Meaning and Definition. Project appraisal is an exercise whereby a lending financial institution makes an independent and objective assessment of various aspects of an investment proposition. To arrive at the financial decision, project appraisal means the assessment of project in terms of its economic, social and financial viability. It is a complete scanning of the project. Usually banks and financial institutions conduct a critical appraisal of projects, which are submitted to them by the entrepreneur for getting loans. They have been traditionally accepting the data provided by the entrepreneur as valid while assessing the project. In fact, the emphasis has largely been on the cash flow and financial viability of a project in assessing their suitability for extending the loans. Project appraisal can be defined as the promoter taking a second look critically and carefully at a project as presented by the promoter person who is no way involved in or connected with its preparation and who is as such able to take an independent, dispassionate and objective view of the project in its totality as also in respect of its various components. The person who carries out appraisal of project is usually a team of institutional officials. The appraisal of proposed project includes the following analysis. 1. Economic analysis. An economic analysis looks at the project from the viewpoint of the whole economy, asking whether the latter will show benefits sufficiently greater than project cost to justify investment in it. E. C. O. N. O. M. I. C. A. S. P. E. C. T. Increased output, enhanced services, increased employment, larger government revenues, higher earnings, higher standard of living, improved national income, improved income distribution. 2. Financial analysis. The purpose of the appraisal of the financial aspects of a project is generally to ensure its initiation of financial conditions for the sound implementation and efficient operation. Preparation of project /171. Financial soundness, efficient operation, cost of production, return on investment, prospects of marketing, profitability, budgeting, pricing, effective controls. E. C. O. N. O. M. I. C. A. S. P. E. C. T. 3. Market analysis. Financial institutions examine the project to ensure economic justification of investment details. They study the marketing scope of the project and also its worth to the national economy by analyzing the consumption pattern and the potential demand for the project. Market analysis covers the following: then anticipated market for the product, then analysis of market opportunity and specifying marketing objectives, then planning the process of marketing the product, then organization for the marketing process, then life cycle of the product. For technical analysis, technical appraisal of a project broadly involves the critical study of the following. By location and site, there are a number of aspects that influence industrial location because it may significantly influence the cost of production and distribution efficiency, the operating environment, etc. The important factors that influence industrial location are raw material, proximity to market, availability of water, power, transportation facilities, manpower, labor laws, taxes, incentives, subsidies, etc. The factors to be considered for selection of site are load-bearing capacity, access to water, effluent, discharge, etc. Size of the plant/scale of operation. The size of the plant determines the economic and financial viability of a project. An important aspect of size is the available process technology. Equipment is often standardized at specific capacities in production sectors. Operative capacities in such sectors are therefore available only in certain multiples. 172/Management and Entrepreneurship. Technical feasibility. The appraisal of the technical aspects involves scrutiny of such aspects of the project as and technology selected, and technical collaboration arrangements made. Then capacity/size of the project. Then selection of plant, machinery and equipment. Then plant layout and factory building, and technical and engineering services. 5. Organizational analysis. As a lender and development institution, the banks and other financial institutions place particular stress on the need an efficient organization and responsible management for the execution of the project. During project appraisal, these two aspects of a project are examined. If both aspects are not carried out properly, short-term remedial steps are recommended. To the entrepreneur, the objective of this aspect of appraisal is to make sure that the project is adequately carried out. The various organizational aspects are organization, structure, recruitment, training and development, and so on. 6. Managerial aspects. If the management is incompetent, even a good project may fail. It is rightly pointed out that if the project is weak, it can be improved upon, but if the promoters are weak and lack in business acumen, it is difficult to reverse the situation. To safeguard from this problem, the financial institutions can exercise control over the assisted units. There is a provision for appointment by the financial institutions of nominee directors on the boards of all MRTP companies assisted by them. The Companies Act, the Industries Act Development and Regulation empower government to exercise powers of control over the management, including the takeover of management of industrial undertakings. All these indicate the importance given to proper managerial strategies to prevent mismanagement. If the proper appraisal of the managerial aspects is made in the beginning itself, future problems in this area can be avoided to a very large extent. 8.11 Identification of opportunity. The reason for anyone to think of establishing an SSI unit can be summarized in single word: opportunity. The opportunity to be your own boss, to implement your own ideas, to earn for himself or herself is reason to think of starting an SSI unit. Starting an SSI needs a lot of courage. To be successful, to stay in the business, an entrepreneur needs combination of hard work, skill and perseverance. Entrepreneur who starts their own business can be grouped into two broad categories. The first category consists of people who know exactly what they want to do and are merely looking for the opportunity or resources to do it. These people may preparation of project/173 already developed many of skills necessary to succeed in their chosen field and are also likely to be familiar with industry customs and practices, which can help during the startup phase of a new business. The second group consists of people who want to start their own business, but do not have definite ideas about what they would like to do. They may have developed skills during their education or in the course of their previous employment, but many have not been interested in opening a business in the same field of endeavor. Project identification is concerned with the collection, complication and analysis of data for the eventual purpose of locating possible opportunities for investment and with the development of the characteristics of such opportunities. Opportunities, according to Drucker, are of three kinds: additive, complementary and breakthrough. Additive opportunities are those opportunities which enable the decision maker to better utilize the existing resources without in any way involving the change in the character of business. Complementary opportunities involve the introduction of new ideas and as such do lead to a certain amount of change in the existing structure. Breakthrough opportunities, on the other hand, involve fundamental changes in both the structure and character of business. Additive opportunities involve the least amount of disturbance to the existing state of affairs and hence the least amount of risk. The element of risk is more in other two opportunities. Project identification cannot be complete without identifying the characteristics of the project. Every project has three elements: inputs, outputs and social costs and benefits. The input characteristics define what the project will consume in terms of raw material, energy, manpower, finance and organizational setup. The nature and magnitude of these inputs must be determined in order to make the input characteristics explicit. The output characteristics of a project define what the project will generate in the form of goods and services, employment, revenue, etc. The quantity and quality of all these outputs should be clearly specified. In addition, every project will have impact on society. It inevitably affects the current equilibriums of demand and supply in the economy. It is necessary to evaluate carefully the sacrifice which the society will be required to make and the benefits will not accrue to the society from a given project. 8.12 Project feasibility study. Project feasibility analysis is carried out to ensure viability of project. The important project feasibility study is 1. Market feasibility. 2. Technical feasibility. 3. Financial feasibility. 174/Management and entrepreneurship. 4. Economic feasibility. 5. Ecological feasibility. Market feasibility. Market feasibility is concerned with two aspects: the aggregate demand for the proposed product/service, the market share of the project under consideration. For this market analysis requires variety of information and appropriate forecasting methods. The kind of information required is then consumption trends in the past and the present consumption level, can past and present supply position, can production possibilities and constraints, then imports and exports, then structure of competition, then cost structure, then elasticity of demand, then consumer behavior, intentions, motivations, attitudes, preferences and requirements, then distribution channels, then administrative, technical and legal constraints. Technical analysis. Technical analysis seeks to determine whether prerequisites for successful commissioning of the project have been considered and reasonably good choices have been made with respect to location, size, and so on. The important questions raised in technical analysis are: then has the availability of raw material, power, and other inputs been established? Then is the selected scale of operation optimal? Then is the production process chosen suitable? Then are the equipment and machines chosen appropriate? Then have the auxiliary equipment and supplementary engineering works been provided for? Then has provision been made for treatment of effluents? Then is the proposed layout of the site, buildings and plant sound? Then have work schedules been drawn up realistically? Then is the technology proposed to be employed appropriate from the social point of view? Preparation of project/175. Financial analysis. Financial analysis is necessary as ascertain whether the proposed project is financially viable in the sense of being able to meet the burden of servicing department and whether the proposed project will satisfy the return expectations of those who provide the capital. The aspects to be looked into while conducting financial appraisal are as follows: N. Investment outlay and cost of project. Then means of financing. N. Project profitability. Then break-even point. Then cash shows of the project. N. Investment worthiness judged in terms of various criteria of merit. N. Project financial position. N. Level of risk. Economic/social cost-benefit analysis. This is concerned with judging a project from the larger social point of view, wherein the focus is on social costs and benefits of a project, which may often be different from its monetary costs and benefits. The questions to be answered in social cost-benefit analysis are as follows. Then what are the direct economic benefits and costs of the project measured in terms of shadow efficiency prices and not in terms of markup prices? Then what would be the impact of the project on the distribution of income in the society? Then what would be the impact of the project on the level of savings and investment in the society? Then what would be the contribution of the project towards the fulfillment of certain like self-sufficiency, employment and social order? Ecological analysis. Today, environmental concerns assured a great deal of significance and hence ecological analysis should be done. Particulars for projects which have significant ecological implications like power plants and irrigation schemes and for environmental polluting industries like chemicals, leather processing, etc. The key questions to be answered in ecological analysis are as follows. Then what is the likely damage caused by the project to the environment? Then what is the cost of restoration measures required to ensure that the damage to the environment is contained within acceptable 176/Management and Entrepreneurship. Chapter Summary. A project is defined as a scientifically evolved work plan devised to achieve a specific objective within a specified period of time. Projects are classified in a number of ways. Project identification involves idea generation. The project ideas can be discovered from various internal and external sources. Project ideas are analyzed in the light of existing economic and market conditions, government policy and so on in order to select project. A project report can be defined as a well-evolved course of action devised to achieve the specific objectives within a specified period of time. It is like an operating document. The project report contains general information, project description, market potential, capital costs and sources of finance, assessment of working capital, economic and social variables, project implementation scheme and so on. Planning Commission provides guidelines for preparing project report. Network techniques like PERT, CPM and GERT can be used for scheduling and controlling the projects. Project appraisal can be defined as the promoter taking a second look critically and carefully at a project as presented by the promoter person. Project appraisal involves carrying economic, financial, market, technical organizational analysis. Questions. 1. Explain in brief the meaning of project. 2. Discuss the classification of projects. 3. Write a note on the following. A. Idea generation. B. Project selection. 4. What do you mean by a project report? Explain in brief the contents of project report. 5. Discuss the guidelines of Planning Commission for project report. 6. List the merits and demerits of PERT and CPM. 7. Explain the steps involved in using PERT and CPM. 8. Write a note on errors in project report. 9. What do you mean by project appraisal? Explain various types of analysis used in project appraisal. 10. Write a note on A. Identification of opportunity. B. Feasibility study.